welcome to Little Sparks. Today we're going to do a short geometry lesson. We're going to talk about different shapes and start classifying some of them. We're going to go ahead and get started talking about circles. So a circle has no corners. And if you look, we have a circle and we have an oval. An oval is like a stretched out circle. It does have different kinds of equations than we would have with a circle. So we do treat them as two different kinds of shapes. A circle, when you go from the center to an edge, it's going to be the same distance no matter where you go from the center to the edge of it. And yes, there's no corners, but we do have the edge of the circle, and that's a word we call a circumference. That's the outer edge of that circle there. The next shapes we're going to talk about are squares and rectangles. So a rectangle, I'll start with that one, is a shape that has four sides and each side has a parallel matching side. So what that means is that we have two edges that are parallel. Their lines run the same direction and are not going to touch each other. And so that means the edges, we have, like for the rectangle, two long edges and two shorter edges. The short ones are parallel and the long ones are parallel. And the corners form a 90-degree angle. And what that is that's that perfect corner there. We'll talk more about angles in another lesson, but 90 degrees is an important one. It always means that corner. And so for rectangles, they have to have that 90-degree angle. If they don't have a 90-degree angle there, they're not a rectangle. And a square is the same exact thing. It has those two pairs of parallel sides, but they don't have a wide and a long side. All their edges are the same size. So a square is a type of rectangle because it fits a rectangle with the 90-degree angle corners and the two pairs of parallel sides and having four sides in total, but it also has the restriction that all the sides have to be the same length. So all squares are rectangles, but not all rectangles are squares. Okay, the next shape we're going to talk about are triangles. And you'll notice I have three of them up here. We're going to talk about the different kind of triangles that we have. But first, we're going to discuss what makes a shape a triangle. So it has three sides and three angles. And angles are when the sides meet together and they form that point on there. So tri actually means three. So the word triangle means three angles. So it's a shape with three angles. And now that we've discussed what a triangle is, we need to discuss what the different kinds of triangles are. So we have three triangles here. The first one, this yellow one, you'll notice the sides are even length. This is called an equilateral triangle. It has equal in the word because the side lengths are equal and the angle measurements are equal. So the angle measurements will always be 60, and that's because a triangle always equals 180 degrees. And so if we divide 180 by 3, it's 60. And we know that an equilateral triangle, it's equal, so it's 60 degrees for each angle. The green one here is called an isosceles triangle. It means that only two sides have the same length. So in the equilateral one, all three sides had the same length and all three angles had the same length. But in an isosceles one, we have only two sides with the same length. That means that all three angles will not be the same. So in this one, our green one, it's really tall. That top one there, that angle is going to be different than the two on the bottom. That bottom part there is called the base, and it's going to have matching angles. They're going to be equal because those two sides going up are the same length. Isosceles triangles have to have two sides of the same length. If you have three sides of different length, it's called scalene. And that's our third triangle here. We have three different length sides. It's called scalene. And then that means that the angles are going to be different as well. This pink one also has the added benefit of being something called a right triangle. So when we talked about the square and rectangle, we talked about their corner being that perfect box-shaped corner being 90 degrees. That's called a right angle. On a right triangle, it means one of the angles has that square box-shaped corner and it's 90 degrees. So in this one, we have that square box-shaped corner, but we also have three different sides, different lengths on the sides. So it is a scalene triangle. So the three kinds of triangles we have are equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. And then a scalene triangle can also be a right triangle. You can even have an isosceles triangle that's a right triangle as long as you have that square edge, but you can't have an equilateral triangle that's a right triangle because the equilateral triangle, the angles always have to be 60 degrees. In a right triangle, one of the angles has to be 90 degrees. That's what a right angle is. Thank you for following the lesson today. I hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to be notified of lessons in the future.